Hello, welcome to EU Awesome Star Wars, Charlie here, and today I'll be reviewing the Jedi Academy Trilogy Volume 1 Jedi Search by Kevin J. Anderson. The story takes place 7 years after Return of the Jedi, and the story starts off with a lot of connections with the EU, especially the Thrawn Trilogy, the Courtship of Princess Leia, and the Dark Empire comics, as well as Lightsider. The story takes place in the aftermath of Dark Empire, the New Republic, busy cleaning up the wreckage of the Dark Empire and Thrawn's campaign. There's a lot of wreckage and destruction around. Han and Leia, of course, have 3 kids, Jason, Jaina, and Anakin. Leia has sent Chewie and Han to Kessel to establish the New Republic relations, and she thinks that it's a good idea for Han and Chewie to relive the old days. However, they are shot down by Kessel workers and made to work in the spice mines of Kessel. Around this time, Luke officially talks to the New Republic Senate to sanction a planet for a Jedi Academy, as well as for the New Republic to help him find Jedi. They agree, so Luke has new Jedi to protect the Republic. This bit's really interesting. It's on page 21 and page 22. I'll read a few cool scenes from those pages. So Senator Bell Iblis says to Luke, "A comment if I may. I'm sorry, Luke, but I have to raise the question. We've already seen the terrible damage a Jedi can cause if he allows himself to be swayed by the dark side. We just recently fought against Jorah Sabaoth, and of course Darth Vader, nearly caused the death of all of us. If a teacher as great as Obi-Wan Kenobi could fail and let a student fall to evil, how can we take the risk of training an entire new order of Jedi Knights? How many will turn to the dark side? How many new enemies will we make for ourselves? And Luke nodded somberly. The question had been working at the back of his own mind, and he had pondered it deeply. I can only say that we have seen these terrible examples, and we must learn from them. I myself have touched the dark side and come through stronger and more wary of its powers than ever before. This is a Dark Empire reference. I agree there is a risk, but I cannot believe the New Republic will be safer without a new force of Jedi." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Bell Iblis stood a moment longer as if he meant to say something else, but instead he sat down looking satisfied. Admiral Akbar got to his feet and applauded with his finger-like hands. "I agree that the Jedi's request is in the best interest of the New Republic," and Jan Dodonna also stood. After narrowly surviving the Battle of Yavin, Dodonna has treated Luke with complete trust, and he said, "I agree as well." Soon all the senators were standing. Luke saw a broad grin on Leia's face as she too stood. He felt the rainbows around him from the crystal ceiling, seemingly full of power, and he felt warm inside. Mon Mothma sat, nodding gravely. She was the last to stand up, and she raised her hand for silence. "I give you my hopes for the rebirth of the Jedi Knights. We will offer whatever help we can. May the Force be with you." Before Luke could turn, applause from the audience rolled like a storm through the chamber. So this is such a cool moment in that scene. It definitely shows that Luke is 100% on his track to create a new Jedi Order. Again, around this time, Mon Mothma is giving Leia new responsibilities and 1,000 things to do. It's time for Jason and Jaina to come home from Winter. So Winter has been looking after Jason and Jaina on the planet Anoth, and at this time, they are finally able to come home, but Winter still needs to look after Anakin. Wedge Antilles is helping the salvage team in Coruscant Underworld as they are destroying old buildings and rubble from the battles in Dark Empire, and using a machine to create new skyscrapers. This machine is pretty strange. The concept is similar to the World Devastator, but the complete opposite, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Of course, the World Devastator destroys things and creates and sucks up the new materials, the old materials, to create TIE fighters and new materials. And this strange machine that demolishes buildings does the complete opposite. It destroys buildings and then it creates, new buildings on the spot. So they're using a new machine to create new skyscrapers, and Wedge discovers a secret Imperial torture room with a strange device that could detect Jedi. So this bit's really strange. Wedge discovers this building and he's like, hang on, there's a chance that something could be in this building. He realizes it's quite old, and then they stop the Salvation team, they all go into the building and they discover it's really black, really creepy looking, Imperial designed, and they see and look around all these weird torture devices, and that's when Wedge realizes that they've got something worth for the Republic records. He searches a bit more, and of course there are these strange, because they're in the Coruscant underworld, there are these strange mutant-like beings who come and attack Wedge. They fire to defend themselves and kill these weird mutant-like beings. Obviously they're inhabitants of the Coruscant underworld, and they've survived in the depths and ruins and destruction, and over time and over the centuries they've turned into these weird mutant-like beings. And we've heard a lot about these sort of things in Star Wars, including the Rackles, I believe, and Taris. And then Wedge discovers a strange device which I'll further talk into. I imagine it looking like a large stethoscope where it could scan someone and detect if they're Jedi or not, or have Force abilities. Luke discovers a new way to find Jedi, and this is another way for him to find Jedi, apart from the weird stethoscope thing that Wedge discovered, but this is pretty cool. He uses the Force to tap into a sensitive part of someone's brain, and it allows that person to basically instinctively push the other person away. Luke tried it on Leia, and he also tried it on his first student, Gantora. So basically, he uses the Force to tap something in the brain, and then that person instinctively pushes that person away if they have the Force without even trying. So I thought that was really cool. C-3PO and R2 look through the Imperial archives to see if they can find any Jedi or people with really good luck. They find a potential candidate, and with the help of Lando, they end up going to the blob races, but all isn't as it seems. And I won't cover too much of that because it's a large bit of the book and a bit of a spoiler. But things don't turn out exactly as you might expect. But it's really interesting how they get Lando on board, because Lando knows a lot about gambling. Luke realizes a good way to detect Jedi is seeing if certain individuals have just got really good luck at gambling again and again and again. So much so it's pretty impossible unless you use the Force. So they discover someone who could have Force potential, but things don't go very well. After this, Han and Chewie meet a potential Jedi and escape the Maw cluster. This is Kyp Durron. I won't get into that I won't get into that now, but a really interesting character. Again, Luke and Gantoros find another Jedi candidate. His name is Streen. He's from Bespin, and he's a gas prospector. And he has Jedi potential. He's basically in this destructive-looking old relic of a Bespin city, and he realizes that the best way for him to live is in peace. And he's kind of in his strange sort of Zeppelin-like ship, and his way is by using the Force, he's able to detect certain gases before the experts actually find that. So that's how Luke discovers that he could be a potential Jedi. But Streen at this moment, he is so strong in the Force that he keeps hearing other people's voices in his head, similar to Charles Xavier in the X-Men franchise and the comics. So Luke helps him try to block out those voices and become stronger in the Force. There are some really awesome moments where Luke teaches Streen how to calm himself as well. Again, using the Force. On Bespin, there are these sort of hawk-like bats. Of course, Streen likes to be very antisocial and just by himself, because he's trying to block these thoughts away if he gets too close to too many people. Because he's by himself, he's got a good relation with the animals, using the Force, feeling a connection with all living things as Jedi do. Most Jedi have good relations and connections to animals and life and all living things, and he has a good connection with these sort of hawk-like bats called Rorks. And Luke discovers a good quick training exercise where he tells Streen to basically use the Force and connect to a certain pole where the Rorks are on top. And of course, Streen bends the pole and the Rorks start flying away. Really cool exercise, and there's connections with that where eventually Luke takes him to Coruscant, and Streen is amazed at the large city as well as Gantoris. They're basically on top of the city, and Streen likes the view like he did in Bespin. So he's looking at the view, and he notices similarities with his Bespin, with his previous planet. There's similar like birds as well that are swooping along the power lines and wires and cables in the Coruscant underworld and grabbing rodents and things like that. So I like all these connections as well. Han, Leia, Luke reunite with Kip Duran and a new ally that designed the Death Star and World Devastator. I will get into this particular well, I might as well say it now, however. So yeah, this particular ally, her name is Kui Zux. She actually designed the Death Star and the World Devastator. But at that time, when she designed these horrible weapons, she didn't think they were actually dangerous. She thought the Imperials were creating these giant weapons to destroy desolate and basically abandoned planets in order for them to mine up their resources and minerals, so they can create new machines or whatever they can. Obviously, they lied to her, and the Death Star is a Death Star, and the World Devastator is a World Devastator. But also, she kind of, when she did have questions at if these sort of devices were dangerous or not, she kind of just took them out of her head, because when she was younger, she was on a planet, her home planet. She was in the academy on her home planet when she was younger, and those that failed, unfortunately, got their colony destroyed. So she has this whole idea of never failing, never questioning, just keep on working on the project and move on to the next one, which is why she kind of let these horrible designs come into fruition. Leia and Mon Mothma find the perfect planet for Luke's Jedi Academy, and it's Yavin 4. Really cool stuff. And that's about it. Very quick review, I know, but if I keep talking about it, I'll just spoil the entire book. So anyway, I love this book, Jedi Search. Highly recommend this book, 100% recommend it. So many great connections with the Dark Empire comics as well as the Thrawn trilogy. Amazing character development with Luke, and it's just awesome seeing Luke create his Jedi Academy and get his first students. So, what did you think about this book? Have you read Jedi Search, the first volume of the Jedi Academy Trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson? Let me know what you think about this book if you have read it. If you haven't read it, again, I encourage you to read it. It is a fantastic book. And again, if you've read previous Star Wars novels such as the Thrawn trilogy or Courtship of Princess Leia, there's references to that. And, of course, the Dark Empire comics, there's a lot of cool references. Almost forgot, there's even a reference of the unpublished novella Lightsider, in which one of Luke's students is Cam Solazar, which is really, really cool. So, anyway, let me know what you think of this book if you've read it, and I'll see you in the next video. Almost forgot, I've got a review of Jedi Search on Goodreads. So if you like Goodreads, and if you like reviews, check out Goodreads, because my review is on there. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next review.